Tell me your why. Why do you
Okay.
do it?
Well, the question really is why am I still trying to continue this?
True,
Since
true.
my last trip over there, I've had 7 surgeries, became disabled. I have stage 4 cancer. So I'm on all these
God bless you, man.
medications and shots, and they're keeping me alive. Right? I don't know. I still don't
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cast Your Light Revelations. I am Gunnery Sergeant Kevin J. Carlio, retired Marine Corps. I am so happy to introduce y'all to Bob Calvert, who has an initiative called Talking with Heroes, which he's trying to get off the ground. And I'm going to have Bob go ahead and discuss what this initiative is about and where he hopes to see it go.
Okay. First of all, thank you for your service. Thank you for
Thank you for
having.
being my reason to serve.
Okay. Thank you. So, just a little background. I'm I'm 77 years old right now. Okay, um, but back in 2002, I raised my daughter by myself. This is kind of the why I've done all this. And at 18 years old, she shocked me by going in the army. And at that time, I was like probably majority of the country. I knew nothing at all about military and
Right.
nothing. I mean, my dad served in World War II, but I wasn't born yet. And my brother served in the Air Force. But I hardly saw him. When I did, he wasn't in the uniform. So I didn't know anything. But anyway, she followed her boyfriend in the Army at Fort Riley. And I remember going to where they finished the training, right? And here goes my memory. Um, I couldn't have been more proud. She's standing there all right, sharp, and looking great.
Trust me,
And
I know, brother.
yeah, and about a year or so later, she contacted me. I'm still in Kansas City now, where I lived for 50 years, ran 2 very successful businesses there. And she called me and said, Dad, my unit is being deployed. This is back when I was told, at least, that women weren't being put in harm's way. That changed quickly. So I literally walked away from everything. All my furniture I gave away. It took me and my cat, whatever I could get in my friend's van, and I'm at Fort Riley now. I'm at Junction City, and I found myself a little hotel room, and I was
You
ready to do
remember
it.
the cat, which is important.
Rainbow. She lived 21 years. Later on,
Wow.
when I was traveling around the country, going to veterans events, she traveled with me. That was a whole nother story with Indiana National Guard. But anyway, so I'm there, and then about 6 months later, she gets pulled. They found a health problem. She was mad. I wasn't so much mad, right? And then Keith got deployed, which is my son-in-law. That was his first of 2 long Iraq deployments, 12-month deployment. And but while I was there, when I realized I'm staying, I wasn't going to go back to Kansas City. I moved into an apartment building where I was the only civilian. And one of the
Oh,
things I
wow.
heard was, if you want to really help us, give us a voice. And then at that time, I was just getting on the internet. I don't remember how I met this Fort Bragg Special Forces soldier to save my life. I can't remember. I guess I could go back in my first appointment book, but I ended up driving there. He asked me to meet his soldiers, his Special Forces soldiers, and the same thing is what I heard. Start a talk show. Give us a voice. No politics. So I came back, had no idea what I'm doing, but I got on this Stardust radio, and So a couple, 3 or 4 months goes by, and I get a call from Iraq, from a major general with Minnesota National Guard and Red Bulls, right? And he asked me if I could do a program. Well, I had no idea, but we did it, right? 36,000 people, they told me later, were listening. And because it was audio only then. But
Okay.
almost at the end of it, he says to me, Bob, you really ought to bring Talking with Heroes over here. And I'm going, yeah, okay. And I remember getting off thinking, what did I just say? At that time, I'm 59 years old, right? Not many soldiers go over there at 59, some maybe. That's what I did. I hitchhiked with Altitude Sports and Entertainment in Denver. He had a daughter and a son, Marine and Army. He wanted to go over there. And so I knew nothing about filming. I'd never picked up a camera. He told me, don't worry about it. I'm doing all the filming. You hold the mic. You do all the talking.
Yeah.
That's what we did. That was my first trip there.
That's beautiful.
Then I got a call from Minnesota National Guard to see if I can come back. Okay, so I went twice in 2007, and I had to hire a videographer to go with me. So I got sponsors to cover that because I'm living on a fixed income at that point. And
I think we all always are living on a fixed income.
yeah,
Sometimes we just don't know it.
yeah, I went all over Iraq both times.
Wow.
Marines. My friend Chris Noble is an Iraq Marine. I was in the same community, Rawa, that he was, but that was before the surge. And it was, you didn't find hardly any Iraqis around at all. They were hiding. And so I do that. I get sick. I go in the hospital. I think I'm done. I'm too old for this. So I started going Soldiers Angels, America Warriors Partnership, all kinds of different events, filming their events, and then I get a call from Fort Carson, which is where I'm at, Colorado, right?
Okay,
So,
yeah. I was stationed there before. I was stationed there when I was at NORAD, U.S. NORTHCOM.
What year was that?
Colorado Springs. Oh, geez, 2003. And I have to ask my wife. She probably remembered better than me, but 2003 to 5 or something
Okay.
to that.
Yeah. So I end up going over there in 2010 twice, 2 different trips. So I fly on the troop plane out of Dallas, right, with my videographer. Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, my last trip was the main one because I was running out of companies that would be willing to cover the cost. And so anyway, I go twice in 2010, except this time I go to Kuwait, get our tags, that we had to go anywhere we went, our identification. And then the first PAO would pick us up. So we went all over Iraq. And then I come back to Kuwait and all the way into Afghanistan, all over Afghanistan. Wow. And it was hard. I mean, I'm not a youngster, right? And I didn't know if I'd go back again. But then I get a call. So I go back. Second time in 2010. And then on that second time, trying to get my years together, I ended up at one school in Iraq twice, 2 different trips. The first time was before the surge. Okay. The principal would not come in front of the camera. He was scared to death. His whole family afraid they would all get killed. And the interpreter was a female. She wouldn't come in front of the camera. So the next time I'm hearing we're going on a mission, and I hear talk about a school, and I'm thinking, I think it was Habanea or something like that. Anyway, and I asked them, I said, what's the school? And they told me, I said, I was there before the surge. And he said, well, that's where we're going. I said, super. But then we don't have the Humvees anymore. We got the MRAPs, right? With a big door that I could hardly open all the time, but I had to. Or I had to do everything, right? Or you can't stay. Anyway, so I was pulling up. I got the door open. I'm getting out, and I hear this voice saying, Mr. Bob, you came back. You said you would, running over to me, giving me this big bear hug. And he had no problem this time going in front of the camera. The interpreter, same interpreter. That was a difference in a visible 2 videos before the surge and after. And so, and then my last trip over was late 2011. And same thing, Iraq, Afghanistan. So I have
2011.
Yeah,
I was there in 2011. I was in Camp Leatherneck.
Camp what?
Leatherneck.
I've been there.
Where
I was,
all the Pogues were stationed at Camp Leatherneck Communications Battalion. I was serving with.
oh, okay. No, I wasn't there.
Mm.
But Amanda Huffman is an Air Force veteran, and she has a podcast called Women in the Military. I found it a long time ago, and I've been promoting a show every Tuesday now. But she asked me to interview her. I hadn't done that in 5 years, so I didn't even know if I could do it. And she said it's just like getting on and off a horse, Bob.
Dust it off, brother. Dust it off, and you
Right,
do what God wants you to do. The talents
she's
you have.
mentioning where she was in Kabul.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I was there. Turns out we were there at the same time. We just didn't see each other.
Yeah,
She was with a PRT unit, provisional reconstruction team, and I was interviewing people from all different NATO countries. So anyway, I've got 619,000 that have watched. We have over 500 videos. I did have monetization because I never made money doing this, and so and when well, I don't think I should say their name, they would sue me. So when this big company bought YouTube, I get a call telling me that we no longer qualify for monetization. Took it all off. And I'm going, I don't understand. They said, we are classifying you a political organization. And I'm going, I'm ready to go through the phone, right? How is supporting our troops, our military people who risk their lives didn't get me anywhere? So I've gone all these years now since. No,
it's crazy how they sit there and they think they can meld together politics and military and what their roles are in this country, because I think we're so confused as a country that people just buy into it and they agree. Okay, yes, that's what it is. That's unbelievable. Okay, so what you're telling me is the who, what, when, where, right? At Cash Your Light Revelations. So one of the things I'd say in my book, the upcoming book, Cash Your Light, you can get it on pre-order now on my website, is, it always begins and ends with why. The who, what, when, where, all that other, that's background noise to me, right? And I've always lived my life that way. So I think, tell me your why. Why do you do it?
Well, the question really is why am I still trying to continue this? Since my last trip over there, I've had 7 surgeries, became disabled. I have stage 4 cancer. So I'm on all these medications and shots, and they're keeping me alive. Right? I don't know. I still don't understand how. It's a really good place in Colorado Springs here. And then I suddenly, in 2022, I ended up with serious problems with my spine. And a Navy commander just told me recently a lot of her sailors are going through this, the body armor, the plates, everything.
Oh, yeah. No,
I'm just a little guy.
Of course.
So I have degenerative disc disease.
So do I. So do most military members that, especially like the top like us that spend a lot of time in leadership positions. We're out in the field a lot. I was a communicator the whole 20 years, pretty much, except for 3 years on embassy duty. But yeah, those other years we were in the field all the time. And yeah, that's a good point. That's interesting.
Yep. She said a lot of her sailors are going through that. Yeah. And I had inflammation in the muscles around, but I had a physical therapist for 6 months last year. She was absolutely amazing, almost like magic, how she helped me over that 6 months. And she's also a military spouse. Her husband is
awesome,
special forces. So that was a bond right there.
Yeah,
I've never spent that much time with a military spouse. It's
a cohesion you don't find many other places, brother.
Yeah,
I think you realize that it's a type of cohesion that when you're put in harm's way, when you have that closely knit type relationships and family-like environment, nothing compares to it. Colleges don't compare to it. Really, nothing compares to it.
Yeah.
So awesome. That's your why.
It's definitely a bond. Everybody has each other's backs. I talked about that a lot when I was doing interviews. I saw it everywhere I went, didn't matter what unit, anything. Didn't matter color, skin, politics, nothing. Everybody has.
Which it really shouldn't anyway, right? I mean,
well, it should be like that in America still. Unfortunately, in many circles, it's not. But anyway,
it's not. Like I say, I see. I came back from 20 years of service in this country. It's been 10 years since I retired, and I see dimly lit halos and shattered wings everywhere, and it breaks my heart. These are the citizens that Constitution that took a promise, an oath to, represents. It's not about the paper, the pen, or the men that pen that document. It's about the people it represents. Right. And it's uncalled for.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother. So appreciate it.
I was really excited because they had this cable machine there with weights. I couldn't lift weights, but it had this big machine where you could pull the pulleys, and I was starting to gain my muscles back. And then a soldier called me. I was with in Afghanistan in 2010. He was having a retirement ceremony. And he said, I'd really like you out there. I said, but I'm a civilian. And he said, I'm inviting everybody that had an impact on my service. And
That's what
you
it's
did
about, man.
in Afghanistan.
Mm.
So he sent this lady to pick me up. I'm disabled. I don't have a car, like a wheelchair. And along the way, I think it was 5 or 6 different times she slammed on her brakes. And I'm seeing this coming, right? I drove trucks and I'm almost had her pull over and let me out. And I ended up in the hospital. And
Wow.
over the next month, I couldn't go back to physical therapy. Over the next month, they found out that fortunately I didn't have cracked ribs, but they were all bruised. And it
Yeah.
flared
Yeah.
up my spine all over again. So everything my friend Jackie did, I starting all over
That's
again. And by that time, they had all new patients. They couldn't get me back in. So I spent 3 or 4 months. I couldn't get any physical therapy, and it just got worse.
that's
I have
significant
one.
challenges, and you're facing it. And I mean, the way I look at it is we can perfectly segue into my next question here. So you face challenges, and I think you face challenges similar to what our service members face. You know, we're put in a place, and we have no choice but to wear body armor and stuff like that. You made a conscious decision to put yourself in, and I honor and I commend you for that. My
Well, I
question
didn't
for you
really know what
now,
I
say
didn't
again.
really know what I was doing. Until I
Again, you would no,
until I
you knew what you were doing, Bob. You were doing
yeah,
what you love, brother. You're doing what you
yeah,
love, and that's what life is about.
yeah, I knew I was
You
going
truly
back to
love what
work.
you're doing, and I commend you for that. So the
Yeah,
question I would ask you is, what challenges are you facing right now with this platform and with what you love
okay,
doing? We know why you do it. We know all
okay.
the, but tell me about the challenges you're facing right
Well, I have a physical therapist now. Doctor physical therapist comes out to my apartment. My daughter found them. It's a national organization. I thought I'd mention it because there are many veterans around the country that could benefit from this that have a hard time getting to a clinic. Okay, it's called Luna. They have 3,000 doctors of physical therapy and physical therapists that go out to people's homes. So I have another, what I call a second magician. She's really good. 7 years in school, met her husband there. He's same thing. Anyway, okay. So 3 years ago, I'm trying to figure out how do I continue this mission? I don't know what to do now. I can't go anywhere and I
now. This
don't
is,
have any
brother,
money.
this is God's handiwork what you're doing. You understand that, right?
Yep. Well, wait till you hear the next thing. I'm buried in debts, right? I wake up in the middle of the night and I've got this idea. I'm not going to say the Holy Spirit was talking to me or not, but I don't know where it came from. Probably the Holy Spirit. That's just me. Okay. And so I wrote it down. 3 years later, a Marine in South Carolina, Chris Nobles, him and his wife have a business called Semperfi Design. They build websites, but they also help veterans all over in South Carolina. And he
I'm proud to
contacted
call my
me.
my brother Marine. He's an amazing human being.
Yep. Yeah, you too. I tried to introduce you to each other. I sent you
I mean, his
connect.
LinkedIn bio tells me everything I need to know about him. We'll meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his wife just had major surgery, so a little bit delay here. And she's amazing. She's 41. They have 4 kids. They live in the country in South Carolina, like mountain areas. Anyway, but he found me like you did on LinkedIn. Okay. So we talked a lot and I told him what my vision was. And so this is 3 years later now. He calls me, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he says, go look at the website. I'm seeing what I visualized 3 years ago. So
Wow.
basically, if I could just sum it up, okay, it's a coalition we're launching through my domain that was just a news site for all those years. But we made it into a 501c3 and we're going to merge talking with heroes together with it. And what we're going to do, like your podcast here, you'll be able to click register when it's ready. You'll be able to put all your information about what you're doing, why, whatever website, social media you have, and then you'll pick categories that you want to be seen in, right? And then you'll click send. You'll get an email saying,
Okay.
welcome to Thank You for Your Service Coalition. Here's your username and password. Every time you have a new podcast or women in the military, Amanda Huffman, you log in, you put that on our website. That's simple. And we're hearing from veterans around the country. Chris told me the other day, before his wife went in for surgery, that there was already over 1,000 that are pre-registered. I'm going, I guess what I'm
Nice.
doing, telling you about this all these years people are waiting for this.
Brother, it's the law of attraction. I mean, sometimes it's not going to happen overnight. It's the law of attraction. You're doing exactly what the universe wants you to do. You see, you get that intuitive pull, right, from the universe, God, whatever your walk of life is, whoever it is, right? And if you ignore that intuition, he's going to start pushing you harder. See, that's what happened with me with this publishing company. You know, I took a very calculated risk. I left a job that I loved. I truly loved it. I was in IT. I loved that job. I was at the company for 10 years. And I had to make a calculated decision. The writing was on the wall. I'm like, I love what I'm doing, but I kept feeling that pull, you know, like that something was pulling me into this. And I'm happy I did it. And I think that's exactly what happened with you. And I think it's literally, if you go against that, that's when you start going into a dark place. And then when people are in a dark place, what they do, they're looking for the light. They're looking everywhere for the light. What you did was you became the light through.
I had my dark place when I could. This place I was at last year was like a family.
Yeah, we all do. I mean, I think we all do. And I think we can acknowledge that we all do have that.
Yeah, not being
So
able
we'll,
to get there is
through
what
your
we're doing.
efforts, you're going to find it. You're literally setting a framework down where people can actually look for the light in you. And then they become the light. That's empowerment. That's powerful, brother. That's exactly what we as human beings, that's a virtue all human beings should have.
Yeah,
The
except I
ability to
don't
do
want
that.
to
I'm
be,
not saying it's easy, but
it isn't. I don't
yeah,
I don't want to be the Lone Ranger anymore. I can't be. I'm
yeah,
too
yeah,
I'm too old,
yeah.
77 years old. I don't
I
know
hear
how
you,
much
brother.
longer I have. No, only God knows. And so I'm trying to build a board of directors. And then I'm realizing as I'm hearing all this feedback already, when I was uploading every Iraq video or Afghanistan video, I would be on the computer 8, 10, 12 hours a day. I know I can't do that anymore. So I don't know
No.
how that's going to work out. Um, but when it launches, there's nothing like it. I predict that the largest veterans groups in the country, they're going to have their national office. And when they do, they'll be able to add a category.
Awesome. Awesome.
You know, the different ones, they can put their name and all their chapters across the country, all the different organizations.
I mean, dude, you know my favorite book, Sun Tzu, The Art of War, right? What does Sun Tzu say? He said the control of a large force is the same as the control of a few men. It's just a matter of dividing up their numbers.
Yep.
You are doing that right now. You're intelligently deploying. You're deploying forces right now, right? With these chapters, that's what you're doing. That's
Well,
the best way to do
yeah.
things. Because if you look at it as a big picture, people get overwhelmed and they think, "Oh, how am I going to do this?" But break it up into small pieces. That's what Sun Tzu was talking about. He wasn't talking about war. He was talking about just being a virtuous human being.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Suicide prevention is going to be a big part of this.
Yeah.
And because of that, Chris and I talked about this. It isn't going to be just for military or veterans or first responders, but for our young people.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're losing young people too fast right now. And I'm convinced, and I'm hearing feedback now. I don't know how quick we can reach them. There could be thousands of little small organizations across the country through a synagogue or a church or a mosque or a local company or a local support group that have a suicide prevention organization.
Exactly. Keep it local. Exactly.
We want them all to register.
It's like, you know, whenever I call the VA and leave a message, which by the way, they never respond to my messages. That's another, we'll have a discussion on that with the future podcast. It's like they say, "Oh, if you suicide, you click this button." Are you serious? Come on. Trump enacted, one thing I'll give President Trump credit for is that he enacted the community care program. Why can't a veteran who's hurting go out locally? And again, I'm not going to get into soapbox. That's another subject, but you hear me, right, brother?
Exactly.
And you feel that, don't you? Feel it, don't you?
There's wonderful 800. There's wonderful 800 numbers on TV. I never can write anything down quick enough because it's there and it's gone.
They need a flesh and bone human being they can reach out to, not a phone.
The media is going to catch on to it. It's going to become, and then plus at the same time, masses of people, millions, are going to find out about these videos. The footage doesn't exist anywhere else. Media didn't see it as news. What I did.
Yeah, brother. And maybe that's why what happened. You know what I mean? I truly believe maybe that's what happened. But regardless of what it really is, it doesn't matter because what you're doing is you're adding light, right? And that's what this is about. That's what we do.
Well,
and I thank you for it.
Here that will, and it's going to take other people to start stepping up and add this to what they do already. Right? So there's a whole team. That's where the coalition comes in. Where when I'm no longer here, it's not going to affect it at all.
Yeah, that's a legacy, brother. That's leaving a legacy, which segues perfectly into my next question. What can my viewers do to help you? What can they do right now?
Okay,
What can the
so one of
viewers
the
that are
things I
watching
want
this
to hold,
podcast right now, what can they do to help you?
one of the things I want to hold up, in April 7th, I found out that my Instagram
Yeah,
account had
I'm
been shut
familiar
down.
with it. Hmm.
Okay, they had been suspended. So, and I'm holding this up so people can read it. Um, anyway,
I'll put it on the screen too right afterwards.
okay. So the next, I contacted them. I didn't have any problem contacting them. Next day, I get an email from them, and then I get an email telling me that they had made a mistake. We didn't do anything wrong, so our Instagram was right back up. And
Mhm.
fortunately, right along with it, my Facebook page went under, suspended, and I started that in 2005. I spent literally thousands on boosting posts to get these messages out
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah, it's expensive. I know, brother. It's expensive.
Close to
Yeah.
5,000 friends, 6,000 followers, and I
Hmm.
tried everything. I talked to my congressman, they gave me suggestions, my brother, Captain Ted Calvert, any answers. I didn't have the money. I went out, I took credit card, and I FedExed the letter to Mark Zuckerberg. And then I found out later he had surgery, so he probably never got it.
You're
But
making me
nobody,
ball my fists by telling me this. You know why? And I'm not a negative person. I don't lose my temper often. But to me, it's like these big tech companies, they're nothing to me. They don't intimidate us. We can't let them intimidate us, brother. And that's what this is. That's what it is. It's almost like they don't want a positive message to get out
yeah. Well,
because
here's what
these negative messages
yeah.
benefit them more.
Well, here's what I want to do now. I'm not willing to just say goodbye to over 10,000 people. There are
Mhm.
Gold Star families there. There's all kinds of people, all related to military veterans,
Yeah.
organizations, companies. I can't remember their names. I have memory loss. So
Mhm.
I found out that my DPT that comes here from Luna, her and her husband are going backpacking in Washington from July 10th to 21st. And I thought, okay, I need to go to San Francisco. I don't know if I'm going to make it there. I don't know if I'm going to end up in a hospital. But right now, I don't know how I'm going to pay for it yet. But I found out that Amtrak, it's twice as long as a plane, but
Yeah.
they have a plug-in thing. I can plug my heating pad in, which will cause less pain in my back
Mhm.
along the way. It's much
Yeah. Yeah.
longer, but it'll go directly to San Francisco. I have a Navy friend there. They'll pick me
Brother,
up.
let me just stop you. You're not doing that. I'm gonna bring you legions. Don't worry about this. Don't waste your time, brother.
Well, I can't
Let's
lose
get
that many
legions
people.
collected and let's do it as quickly as we can. And we will form a legion and make this happen because it's unacceptable. I know people. Remember, I've been in IT for 30 years. I know some pretty highly connected people on LinkedIn that are CEOs of other tech companies like myself. I'm not a tech company, but a publishing company. And let's again, we can talk offline about it, but I don't want to see you putting yourself again, what you've done your whole life, in harm's way
Yeah. But
when
if
you don't
nothing
have to.
happens by the end of next week, I have to do it because my brother found out. He tried to log in yesterday and it says you have I think it's 101 days where if you don't contest this, appeal it,
Yeah.
they shut it down. And I'm not going to take a chance and lose that many people. Not when we're ready to launch something so
Yeah,
important.
10,000 is a lot, is nice and everything, but I believe that with this new and with when you rebrand it, this rebranding you're going through and everything, I believe we can bring way more than 10,000. But I understand it.
Yeah,
It's
I
close to you.
know.
It's personal. I get it. I get it.
I've interviewed a lot of these people.
Yep.
I
Yep.
just can't remember. I had COVID long for 2 years, memory loss.
Did you ever download your Facebook data? You know, you
Pardon?
can do that. You can download your Facebook data. I don't know if you ever did that.
My brother did that yesterday.
No,
It
I
was
mean from the previous page that you're
right.
referring to.
He did that yesterday. He's
Okay.
like 756 something. Neither one of us could open the file. It's too big.
Hmm.
And all it does is it tells me all the posts I ever did, which could help. But actually,
Let's
to be
work on that
honest,
offline, brother. Let's meet after this. I'll have a session with you. Let's
okay.
work offline on that.
But if nothing happens, I am I live in a HUD senior building. I live on a small fixed income. I'm stir crazy. I'm used to traveling around the country, going to Iraq, going to Afghanistan, and this is getting I figured she's gonna be gone. So I have no physical therapist that I can get here. So why not go do this? You
Yeah.
know, I just have to be careful. I
You
need,
you've been spending too much time around Marines, man. That's some tenacity.
well, I'm all
That's some
in.
grit.
I've always been all in ever
Yeah.
since I
I
started
can
there.
tell. I can see it in your eyes, the fire in
Yeah,
your eyes. I can
this
see it
is
right
no
now.
different. So how
Yeah,
can
brother.
people help? If anybody can afford to help with this, so I can get it's going to be Amtrak. That's what it's going to be. And but then any donations right now would be very helpful. But the donation button is not on the site yet, but it will be. It's going to be connected to our Thank You for Your Service bank account at
Yep.
US.
Do you know how much you need?
So I think the round trip is going to be it's 170, I think, one way, so 350. And if they don't come out of the building in the first day, I have to stay somewhere.
Yeah, we'll
So
talk
maybe a
offline.
hotel. And I
I can
have
tell
to,
you right now, Cast Your Light is already going to donate to you. So, but what we'll do is we'll put something together and we'll get some other folks on board because it, you can give people your time, your talent, and your treasure, right? That's
okay,
all you can do. That's all you can really give anybody. My company's going to give you our treasure. I've already given my time and talent. Let's get some
okay,
other folks on board to help you out, brother, because I believe in what you're doing, and I think it's very important that you do this. There's so many initiatives out there that are not anywhere near this wholesome, but this is such a wholesome initiative. And I think this country's at a point now where they've forgotten what we are as Americans and like who we really are. And they would see something like this and think to themselves, is that even worth contributing to? Are you kidding me? Of course it's worth contributing to. Look what
okay,
this man has done, people.
okay. If there's a corporation out there that has a social media team, if they're that big, I've tried one company and I was told the CEO, it's a big one. I was told the CEO is very supportive of our military. I
Hmm.
couldn't get past this one department.
Yeah.
If there is a big company out there like that, I would be willing to just make me an offer. I'll turn over the YouTube, I'll turn over the social media, and then
Yeah.
let
Yeah.
the rest of us just focus on promoting. The other thing is, this is
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I don't have, my platform is not gigantic yet, but I'll use
this
my
is
platform to publish.
this is an at a glance
I
plan.
see.
I have
Yeah.
all of them since 2005. There's going
Awesome.
to be at least 1,000 names and phone numbers.
Oh,
And then when
nice,
it's
nice.
ready, I can't sit here long because of my back, but I'll be walking around making phone calls,
Yeah.
telling me to send me an email.
It's almost like a campaign if you think about it.
It is a campaign. This is saving
Let's
lives.
run it like a campaign. Let's run this campaign.
It
Let's get
is.
people to do cold
Right.
calls and find out who these people are if we have to.
Yeah.
We're
Most
gonna have to. We do what we
Americans,
have to do.
yeah, most Americans don't have a clue other than what they've heard in the news, which is
Mhm.
mostly people dying, sadly, stuff
Yeah.
like that. But they don't have a clue what you were all actually doing over there. And it's
Yeah.
on these videos. It's 500 videos, 619,000 people so far have watched. And this is with no promotion whatsoever. And the message that I get on YouTube, I love it. This is a family member finding their loved ones for the first time, and
Yeah. Really.
they've shared it with everybody in the family. It's the
I mean, you're
videos.
you're documenting the legacy of the United States military is what you're doing.
Yeah, from
During
two.
two wars, in my opinion, should not have been fought for that long. Again, Sun Tzu, you don't fight a war for that long, but we did because we
That's what I'm
we we
saying.
we we answered our nation's call. We stayed and we went and we did what we had to do. I don't want to get political, but I think you know what I'm getting at. But brother, let's do this, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If there's a big corporation, a foundation that's hearing this, call me or call
Yeah.
you. You put me on the phone with you. By the way, I'd like to.
There's his contact
I
information right
shouldn't
up
put you
there. I'm
on the
going to give it
spot.
to you. Say again, Bob.
Should I put you on the spot?
Go ahead, put me on the spot. You can't
I
put
would
KJ
hereby,
Carlio on the spot.
I would like to invite you to be on the board of directors.
I'll do it.
Okay. It's all veterans, it's all military spouses, all couples.
I'll
Most of
do
them
it.
couples.
My cycles are limited because I am running a publishing company. I am getting the book published, but
I
I
know.
will join.
Well, the
I'm going
thing
to give you
about
again time, talent, and treasure.
yeah, the thing about the board of directors is usually it's a meeting once a month, an email go out saying what's going to happen. Somebody takes responsibility of being secretary. The other people, I'll need some here to help me. That's staff, and they have. I don't know anybody that can just do what I've done all these years and work for nothing. So
I,
that's
I
going to
was
be
I'm part of an association. I won't say the name of this group of folks, but basically wrote a document on what a director is supposed to do. Because I think a
Okay.
lot of people out there hear the term director and they just look at it as a title. No, you're supposed to direct things. It's not just a title. Like, what are you doing? Your job is to direct. You're appointed, you get into this position, and I'm on board with you. I'll be honored to take the position.
So
Of
are you gonna
course.
put this on your YouTube page?
Yeah, this will go on. This will go on the page.
Okay, I did this with Amanda. Can I give you access to my YouTube page and upload it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
It'll be
Yeah.
the second one in 5 years, but I still have 1,800 connections. A lot of them
Okay.
just said that
Outstanding. Yeah.
but I don't know how. There's been so many upgrades with YouTube. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's the way to get
Oh, they're
that.
more downgrades than upgrades, but what do I know? I've only been in IT for 30 years.
Okay, well, we'll do that when it's right. You tell me when you're
Yeah,
ready.
yeah. It's ironic because, as human beings, we're so connected. We really are spiritually. I'm a Muslim man. I'm not sure what your religious faith is, but look at us,
Do you want to know?
right? Look at us. Go ahead, tell me.
My mom is Jewish, Orthodox Jewish family.
Okay.
2 generations before, they were from Poland. A lot
Yeah.
of them died in the concentration camps. And my mom they were going to do a prearranged marriage. She was 18 years old and she was scared to pieces. She didn't know if they were going to try to marry an old man. So she's sitting at a bench in Miami Beach by the ocean.
Yeah.
And this gentleman walks by in a Navy uniform. It's my dad. And their eyes caught. He's a Christian. So that's how I was raised. And to me, I have no problem with this because Christians, the reality
Why?
is
Why would
you're
you?
worshiping a Jew. Jesus was
Exactly.
Jewish. He never said he
Exactly.
wasn't.
It's comical because my fourth book, I'm working on a book now. I'm hoping to get Neil Donald Walsh on it with me. It's going to be called One with God. It's going to be about how we all truly are connected. And what I was going on to into the connection piece is this. Yeah, it's the book, brother. This book's going to be included. I think our planet needs this book. But again, this isn't about me. Let's talk about you. So it's like technology is supposed to connect us, but it's almost separating us more than anything. This flesh and bone relationships we used to forge as human beings. I believe in technology, but I believe in it's getting in the hands of wrong. And I think the example of what happened through the Facebook account is an exact example of that. It really is, and it's uncalled for. And it's not on my watch. Simple as that. But I thank you so much for coming, brother.
Thank
Do
you.
you have any parting words? Anything you'd like to say before we finish
No,
up here?
everything we're talking about is what military people live by. We have each other's backs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
It's a code, brother. It's a code.
Yeah, I do want to say one thing to all of our men and women right now, anywhere in the world where you're serving, especially if you're in an area where you could be in harm's way. Be safe, stay alert. We look forward to hearing you're back home with your families. To all military, to all veterans, all families. Families serve too. Thank you for your service to our country. And to all first responders, same thing. Thank you for serving in our communities, firefighters, law enforcement, and to teachers, doctors, right? They're serving in different ways.
Yes,
That's what I
absolutely.
want to say. Thank you again.
God bless you, bro. That was beautiful.
And to your wife, your family.
That was beautiful. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Peace be with you, brother.
Shalom.